What is up, everybody? This is Mr. Howard, and we are back with some Raw talk for the week. We're going to be talking about NXT Takeover a little bit at the end of this, so if you want to just see that, you can move on towards the end of the video. But for right now, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. So basically, we had a nice set of promos tonight. We started off with the New Day in the ring, just kind of talking up New Orleans and just having a great time. Of course, really quickly and very quickly into the show, we see Enzo and Cass come out and interrupt them, and I absolutely love the promos cut between the two teams. Everyone kind of gets a word in. They were making fun of Kofi's shoes. They look like old people shoes or something. And then Enzo talked about how he took Franny out last night, which was Xavier's trombone, if you don't know. How he had his lips all over and he played her with his fingers all night long and all this stuff, and it was really funny, and it was just one of those things you wish would never end, but great promos cut, and then of course as they were getting hyped up for what looked like a promo battle or something, the what was Aiden, the Vaudevillains, Aiden English, and Simon Gotch came out and interrupted them, leading to, maybe a possible, kind of scuffle in the ring. The club then comes out and basically led to a match being created between the four teams. So a match was set up where the club and the Vaudevillains would take on the New Day and Enzo and Cass. So this was a pretty good match overall. Everybody kind of seemed to have their own spot in the match at some point, but it was pretty chaotic throughout. I would say, each superstar definitely got to use like their signature move or whatever in some kind of a way. Big E notably tossed Aiden English, I think, around like a lot, kind of like a rag doll, and then hit him with a really cool suplex. And then as the end of the match came, the club basically got in the ring, delivered their finisher. I think it was the Magic Killer. I could be wrong, but they delivered their tag team finisher to Kofi Kingston, and they picked up the win there. We also got to see the return of Corporate Kane. We saw Stephanie and Shane talking backstage, and basically kind of arguing over SmackDown ownership and Raw ownership. And Shane seemed like he was willing to compromise. He said, if you want SmackDown, I'll take Raw. Steph said no. He said, well, if you want Raw, I'll take SmackDown. She said no. She said she wants both, and he just kind of laughs it off like, yeah, right, because that worked for the past so many years when I was gone. And then you see Kane come into the picture and talk about, how he thinks he would be a good fit for the role, or to at least have some kind of a role in helping the two of them out on the shows. And he basically just kept talking, and they were just kind of looking at him like he was crazy. He had a resume, and he had, he had a bunch of stuff, but it was pretty funny. I don't know if what they plan on doing with Kane. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be wrestling at all in the future, but even if he's just playing this corporate role backstage and on, in promos and stuff, it's still pretty cool. I mean, I'll get behind it, I guess. Moving on, we had the very heavily advertised Ambrose Asylum return, where Ambrose came out and hosted his former Shield members Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns to talk about the match they were going to have this coming weekend at Money in the Bank. And, they basically were kind of having some fun. Ambrose was trying to get Rollins to lighten up a little bit, and the crowd was chanting "Party Pooper" over and over again, which was kind of funny. And Rollins listed off a bunch of, things like back in the days, how much fun they all had, and he listed a couple specific examples. I think they mentioned one where him and Roman found Dean Ambrose like passed out behind a dumpster or something, and it was pretty funny. But then, of course, to end the little promo he was cutting, Rollins says, "But you know what the best time of my life was? When I took a chair to your back." Referencing when the Shield basically broke up and Seth Rollins turned on Reigns and Ambrose, and then that kind of pissed off Reigns, and they had a war of words. So basically, Rollins eventually kind of just looked like he decided to get up and like walk out because he was getting annoyed. Ambrose then kind of faced Reigns, and Rollins. I think Rollins hit Ambrose from behind, pushing him into Reigns. And then during the scuffle, basically Reigns hit Rollins with a Superman punch, and then Ambrose hit Reigns with Dirty Deeds, alluding to the fact that if he won the Money in the Bank uh, match this Sunday, that he would cash in on no matter who the champion was, which I thought was interesting. It definitely, it gives me some hope that the match will be entertaining in the end. Maybe I guess that doesn't really, just because he mentioned it doesn't really mean that's gonna be what happens. But I would definitely like to see someone other than Reigns and Rollins champ. That is for sure. And Ambrose seems like it would make sense. I've talked about that before, and it's it depends on what they want to do with it. I mean, I've said many times before that I believe the next WrestleMania main event will be the triple threat between the three of them for the world title. Or if there's more than one world title, maybe for a world title. I don't know how the brand split's going to be, um, you know, affecting the title situation. There is a rumor that the brands will be splitting July 19th when SmackDown goes live, and I don't know if they're going to be doing a draft right then and there, if it's going to happen later. The rumor is they're going to be taking a ton of NXT talent up to help fill the rosters, and they also are. There's a rumor going around that we're going to be getting 2 pay-per-views a month again, so we have 1 pay-per-view for each brand, and if that's the case, then maybe we'll see the world title split up again. I don't really know what their plans are. We really just have to wait and find out. But speculating, I would assume to see. I would assume to see like similar to what we saw in the early 2000s, where you have 2 brands, 2 titles for the most part per weight class or whatever, with the exception of maybe the women's belt. Maybe they'll bring the cruiserweight belt back, which would be awesome, since we have so many cruiserweight superstars now. I don't know. I really just hope they do something, good with it. And to be honest, I would like to see, I would like to see more like story-driven matches instead of just kind of throwing people together for really no reason. I think it would definitely having SmackDown be a major theme would definitely give a lot of the NXT stars a way to break through and become big stars. And if they didn't have that option now, they definitely will in the future. So I'm going to move on here. We have a match between. We had a skirmish between Rusev and Titus O'Neil. I just want to put this here to talk about before we move on. Titus O'Neil was coming down to the ring for a match, and Rusev attacked him on the stage, and Titus fought back a little bit, but it seemed as if he was mostly just kind of getting laid out by Rusev. And I found it funny. Not funny, but funny. There's a fake Twitter account out there for Vince McMahon, and after that part of the show, the fake account tweeted out, how does it feel to be assaulted on the ramp, Titus? And if you don't understand that, it's because Titus was suspended for hugging Vince McMahon on the stage a few weeks or maybe a month or two ago. I forget how long ago it was, which was kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but I mean, there isn't much you can do about that. So that we didn't really get much more progression for that storyline, other than the fact that it will be a match at Money in the Bank, I suppose. Now, they don't have Charlotte in the game, but we did get to see a match between Charlotte and Paige, which I have been waiting for Paige to come back for so freaking long, and finally she's here. I hope she takes the belt at some point, because she's really the only person I want as champ right now. I like Natalya, and I like Becky, and, Charlotte's a good wrestler as well, but Paige is just my girl. So we got to see a little bit of action from Paige, and Charlotte came out with Dana Brooke as usual. We got to see a pretty quick match where Charlotte got distracted by Natalya and Becky sitting at the commentary table, I believe. Paige hit her out of the ring. Dana Brooke threw Charlotte back into the ring, and Paige basically picked up the win because Charlotte wasn't ready to go back in or something, I guess. So it kind of sparked some tension between Charlotte and between Dana Brooke. So behind the scenes, after they got back from the ring, you see them backstage talking, and Charlotte basically says we have some work to do because we can't have that happen at Money in the Bank when they have a tag match against Becky and Natalya. So, it's one of those things. I mean, we have to assume that. Well, I guess we don't really have to assume anything. I mean, one way to go with that match is Charlotte and Dana Brooke lose because they didn't work well as a tag team. There's a couple of different ways. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But moving on, we will talk about the John Cena and AJ Styles contract signing. So John Cena comes out, cuts a great promo, talks about how everyone has wanted to see, everyone's wondered what would happen if only AJ Styles and John Cena could fight or could wrestle in the same company at the same time, and if they did, who would win in a match. So basically, he presented AJ Styles with two separate contracts. He had one where he would basically, AJ would sign it, and it would be a one-on-one match, regular one-on-one match to prove who was the better wrestler once and for all. The second contract was a match of John Cena versus AJ Styles, and then in parentheses with the club. So basically, Cena was saying, are you going to man up and fight me one-on-one, or are you going to prove me right in saying that you're not this phenomenal superstar and have your your club back you up and basically, beat me down on Sunday. So he kind of gave Styles the choice. Styles wasn't really having any of it, and eventually decided to sign the one-on-one contract, which will be interesting because I don't know what really is stopping the club from coming out and interfering. I don't know. I don't really know what the point of it was, of the contract signing was, other than to just kind of make AJ look bad, I guess. But yeah, so, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some interference, but if we could get a nice clean match, that would be great. So why don't we move on here? We also had a great one-on-one match between two of my favorite wrestlers, Sami Zayn and Cesaro. So this is a match, of course, leading into the match, the Money in the Bank match this Sunday. They are two of the 6 competitors. And earlier in the night, Cesaro was giving an interview with Renee Young. Sami Zayn jumped in, and they kind of had a few words. Cesaro basically said, um, even though we worked together before the WWE, once you come here, you basically have to start over, and you really still have a lot to prove to Sami Zayn. And Cesaro and Sami Zayn have fought a lot, many times. And then they fought in NXT. They fought in, I think, FCW or whatever maybe whatever previous league they were in. Um, and I could be wrong, but I don't remember Sami Zayn ever being able to beat Cesaro one-on-one. Um, and it basically kind of set up a challenge for Zayn to prove Cesaro wrong and to prove to everybody else that he was, at least worthy of the matches he was being put in. So they had a really good match. There's nothing I can ever complain about. It's really there were a ton of uppercuts, ton of drop kicks and suplexes, and Cesaro did the super. I don't even know what I call it an ultraplex. It's a superplex from the outside ring apron, but he pulls all of Sami Zayn's weight up and over without Zayn pushing off the ropes or helping with the weight distribution at all. And Cesaro is ridiculously strong. So basically, we saw a bunch of counters, a bunch of reversals, and basically, Cesaro ended up turning. So Cesaro basically went for like a power bomb, and Sami Zayn turned it into a sunset power bomb, which basically means he was on top of Cesaro midair, went behind his back and kind of rolled him up midair into like a cradle pin or something, and got the win that way. It was kind of an upset victory. It was like an 8 or 9 minute match. It wasn't super long. And I would say both guys look really strong going into this weekend's pay-per-view. So we're going to move on here. We also had the Kevin Owens and Alberto Del Rio in a tag match versus the Lucha Dragons. And basically, they were forced to team together and face this team. And if they lost the Lucha Dragons, their spots in the Money in the Bank ladder match would be in from them and given to the Lucha Dragons. So they were obviously both really pissed off about this, and it wasn't that great of a match. I mean, basically, they just kind of went back and forth very, very little bit, and eventually Kevin Owens hit Sin Cara with the pop-up powerbomb for the win. After the match, we got to see Del Rio kick Owens in the face, and that was kind of the way the match ended. So I would say both of them look pretty bad. And then, of course, we saw Ambrose versus Jericho at the end of the night, but that really wasn't a super long match. Everyone was out in the ring at the end, and Raw went off the air in a scuffle between all of the competitors. So this is I set up a little short NXT Battle Royal here, so we can talk about NXT the end, which took place last week. I'm sure you've seen it or watched it by now, but in case you haven't, I'm just gonna go over it very, very briefly. Basically, what we saw were I think 5 matches, and I would say the first 2 matches were all right. I'm not. Well, let's talk about it. So we had a debut for a new superstar, which was that. I'm trying to think of his name. Cien. He was a luchador from the. I don't know if it was Lucha Underground or if it was let me take a quick look here. Uh, and basically, he had a match. He debuted against the Perfect 10, and it was it was a good match, but it also really wasn't um, anything to be focused on for the night. So his name's Andrade Cien Almas, and he faced Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10. It was a good match overall, but the newcomer proved that he belongs in NXT and beat Ty Dillinger in like a 5 or so minute match. Um, we also had the tag team title match between the Revival and American Alpha, where I was pretty sure American Alpha was going to win. It turns out they did not, and the Revival picked up the tag team championship. Uh, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries, which was an amazing match. I cannot wait for these guys to be on the main roster, hopefully soon. And they went back and forth. Aries hit a kind of like a brain buster kind of deal on the side of the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Nakamura hit all of his finishing moves and ended up picking up the win. But both guys looked great, and I hope they do a lot in the future. Asuka defended the women's championship against Nia Jax in probably the best match Nia Jax has ever had, and definitely one of the better matches Asuka has had. They went back and forth. Nia Jax tried to dominate. Asuka just kind of didn't give up, kept coming back with drop kicks off the top rope and kicks to the head, and eventually would pick up the win after kind of knocking Nia Jax, not really unconscious, but definitely knocking her out for a couple seconds, enough to get the pin. And then, of course, the final match, the NXT World Title match between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, took place in a steel cage, and this was a very good match. We got to see the coup de grace off the top rope, and we got to see Samoa Joe hit his finishing move off of the top rope from like after they were climbing the cage, which I thought was just ridiculous. I mean, it was kind of scary to watch because I didn't think he hit the muscle buster off the top rope, guys. That's ridiculous. And I have to say, overall, it was a good pay per view. I'm hoping we get more of these guys on the main roster very soon, but that is to be determined in the coming months. Hopefully by the end of July. All right, so why don't we, while we're finishing up this match here, do the quick preview for the Money in the Bank ladder match, which will be this Sunday. And the kickoff show is going to be hosting 2 matches, I believe. One between Apollo Crews and Sheamus, and the other between Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. Once again, not really looking forward to those matches tremendously, although Apollo Crews is a really fun wrestler to watch, so maybe that match will be alright. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We're going to have the United States Championship match between Rusev and Titus O'Neil. I hope they are actually building Titus O'Neil up here. And if he wins the belt, I will be a little bit surprised, but also very happy, because I cannot stand Rusev, especially having the U.S. title. Like, I know that's probably why they're doing it, to piss people off, but it bugs me. And, having Titus O'Neil as the champ would be a nice way to prove that he is going to be, somewhat of a star in the future, and give us a better title feud, hopefully, in the coming months. We also have the World Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match between the New Day, the Club, Enzo and Cass, and the Vaudevillains. I always find it hard to believe that the tag champion, or I'm sorry, the tag championships will change hands in a multi-tag match. It's not unheard of, but I have to think the New Day will win this match somehow. And then we'll probably see them in a one-on-one team feud with someone else before they drop it. I would love Enzo and Cass to pick up the belts. I think if the club won the belts, that would be pretty cool. It would lead to some good feuds. But I'm behind Enzo and Cass all the way on this. I would like to see them win, and I assume the New Day is going to pick up the win. And if they do, I won't be tremendously upset because it's almost kind of what I expect at this point. We are also going to have John Cena versus AJ Styles in the superstar matchup. Assuming there's no interference, I don't see how Cena loses this. I think he wins cleanly either with the FU or the Attitude or the. Oh, yeah. See, bear with me, guys, because I still don't call it the Attitude Adjustment. Either with that or the STFU submission hold. I have to say I love AJ Styles, and this is going to be a great match. But turning him heel wasn't the best idea, in my opinion. They could have had a really great feud between the two guys as faces. Disappointed they didn't. But this is definitely the match I'm looking forward to the most, with the exception of maybe the Money in the Bank. But we'll move on to the Divas tag match. It's going to be Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Becky Lynch. I don't believe the title has any stipulations involved here, so that is what it is, I suppose. I really want to see Paige involved, so hopefully after this tag match we get Paige into a feud. Hopefully Sasha comes back soon. I'd really, really, really love to see them, in the near future. We also have the Money in the Bank ladder match, which... sorry. Got caught up in the match there. We have the Money in the Bank ladder match, which will be featuring Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Alberto Del Rio, and Cesaro. I can't stand Del Rio, so I've said this before. As long as he doesn't win, I won't be incredibly pissed off. But of course, the last time I said that, it was about The Miz, and he did win the match, and it pissed me off. We also have... looks like... So this Money in the Bank ladder match is going to be good. And I know there's going to be some big spots. I don't think they're going to have a heel win the match. That's just my prediction. So that means not Jericho, not Del Rio, not Owens. I don't see how Jericho could win unless they actually want to put him into the title picture again, which, he doesn't really need it, I guess is what I'm saying. Kevin Owens would be good, but, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say Sami Zayn wins this match. Maybe Dean Ambrose. I would like to see any of the faces win, but maybe Dean Ambrose winning would be the best way to set up that Shield feud over the world title. That the only reason I don't put my money on Ambrose first is because it seems too scripted. Like it's too predictable having him win the match. So I would say Sami Zayn, maybe Cesaro wins the matchup just to kind of throw us off. But I have to assume it won't be Del Rio. It better not be Del Rio. I don't think it'll be Jericho. I'm fairly certain about that. And I don't think it'll be Owens because we already have a heel. We kind of have two heels in the main event feud already, so I don't think we really need another heel. We need a good fan favorite. And then moving on, lastly, to the world title match between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. It'll be interesting to see Seth Rollins back in action. I really, really, really wish he didn't have that that real like pussy persona, that real pussy heel persona, where he just runs away from everything. And I really wish that he would be a heel more like maybe Kevin Owens or Rusev, or someone who is confident and doesn't run away from the fight every single time. Um, this is yet to be seen, but I have to assume that. Well, I don't know. I want Reigns to win because I hate Rollins. If Rollins wins, that just means this feud is going to go on all summer, and it's not really what I want to see. But moving on, I'm semi excited for this pay per view. There isn't much around the women's division this time. Uh, there isn't really much on the pre-show. The U.S. title match is kind of blah. There's no Intercontinental title match. So really, you got your big three matches, which are John Cena versus AJ Styles, the Money in the Bank ladder match, and in my opinion, the tag match, but in most people's opinion, that would be the world title match. So we got 3 or 4, depending on who you ask, good matches to watch. And hopefully this will lead to some really good feuds on the next month or so. I want to, assume that the draft is coming towards the end of July, if not on July 19th. But, you never know. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next episode of Raw Talk, and I will be posting stuff throughout the week. I'm covering E3 currently. I'll be putting Supercard up and some Fallout stuff and UFC and 2K16 and whatever you guys want to see. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys real soon.